Thanks for tuning in to the WingSpace Podcast. This podcast is not a replacement for mental health treatment or professional health care. In case of crisis or emergency, please contact your local healthcare provider or dial 911.
Hey there, and welcome to the WingSpace Podcast, a place to take up space. Welcome to Season 5, where we are focusing on the 5 pillars of wellness: food, nutrition, movement, sleep, stress, and relationships. Today, we are going to tackle stress. It's one of those topics that I often share with people, this concept that if you talk to a medical professional or you talk to even a mental health professional or someone, they'll say, oh, you need to reduce your stress. I call BS because it's not that simple. We live in a world where we experience various kinds of stress. There are some previous episodes that we've talked about this. We'll link it in the show notes. But we have good stress, we have bad stress, and both of them have kind of a similar impact on our bodies. So it doesn't matter if it's good stuff that's happening or if it's bad stuff that's happening, we're still having that impact on our bodies. And I'm not going to say you need to remove or reduce your stress. What I'm going to say is, how about you consider an invitation to bring activities into your life that are going to regulate your nervous system. When we talk about stress, what's happening is that we are stimulating our nervous system. I'm not going to get into the science behind it today, but if you can just imagine this idea of, we've probably all seen the cartoon or caricature of like somebody, looking like they're plugged into an outlet and they're just like, visually, I'm trying to describe this for those of you that are listening and not watching, but they look like they're electrified, right? Their eyes are bugging out. Their body is in a cartoon way, like shaking. That is what happens, right? When our nervous system is overstimulated. We are just like, if you can just kind of imagine what that would feel like in your body. And what we need to do is, yes, we need to reduce our stress, but reducing our stress involves us manipulating our environment. And we're not always able to do that. I will tell you, a number of years ago, I was having some medical problems and I went to a specialist at Johns Hopkins, and I did some testing and things like that. And she said to me, this condition that you have is caused from excessive stress, and you need to find the source of your stress and you need to eliminate it. And I knew what my source of stress was, and I eventually was able to remove that thing, which at the time was a job that I had. But not everyone is in a position to quit their job or to drastically change their relationships or drastically change their circumstances. However, what we can do is we can engage in activities that are going to regulate our nervous system and reduce our body's response, the physiological and physical responses to stress. So the first thing that I want you to do right now, I don't care whether you're listening to this while you're walking or cleaning house or driving your car, I want you to take a big, deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just a big, deep breath. Keep breathing naturally. Some of you may have felt your shoulders come up really high when you took that deep breath, and maybe you were not fully engaging your lungs. Keep breathing naturally. We are pretty ineffective breathers because everything we do in our society is like hurried and harried. So even our breath has turned into that. So what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you are blowing up a balloon, aka your lungs. And in order to inflate your lungs, you have to be able to fully expand your belly. Why am I walking you through this? I'm walking you through this because our vagus nerve, I think it's called the 10th cranial nerve, is the central nerve of our body that engages our rest and relaxation system. The number one way, I'm not going to say only way, but the number one way for us to engage that rest and relaxation system is by inflating our lungs and pressing engaging our diaphragm, which then presses on that vagus nerve that releases the endorphins that are going to engage that rest and relaxation system. Okay. So now that you know that, we're going to engage our bellies in this breathing exercise so that we can fully inflate our lungs and we can fully expand our diaphragm and we can press on that vagus nerve. Okay. So I want you to do this again. You're going to breathe in through your nose again, but this time I want to make sure that you are imagining all of that air going in your nose, down your throat, through your chest, into your belly, and expanding. Let's do it. Out through your mouth. I don't know about you, but I already feel better. I already feel better. Is deep breathing going to be the thing that takes away your stress? No, but it is going to be the thing that allows you to reduce your body's physiological response. There is a reason why Hope and Healing has a shirt that says, unclench your jaw, relax your shoulders, and take a deep breath. Because for those of you that are watching on YouTube, you're going to see me, kind of shoulders up, jaws clenched, right? You can even hear it in my voice that I'm talking differently because I'm so clenched. This is a little bit of an over exaggeration, but how many times during the course of the day do we take a deep breath and we literally, the shoulders come away from the ears, maybe back and down, and the jaw relaxes because we hold all of this tension in our physical bodies because of the outer experience of stress that we're having. I want to just take a deep breath. It's as simple as that. Just take a deep breath to engage that rest and relaxation system. There's lots of ways that we can deep breathe. We can take 10 deep breaths, right? If you take 10 deep breaths, and I mean slow and methodical breaths, it's going to take about 10 seconds to breathe in and breathe out. That's one. Breathe in, right? So you're going to take about 10 seconds to do 10 breaths. That's like a minute and a half of deep breathing and relaxation. Clears your mind ever so slightly, oxygenates your brain so that you can make good decisions because you actually have oxygen in your brain. You've also oxygenated your entire body, getting the blood circulating, carrying the oxygen through your body that's going to prime your physical body to do what it needs to do, okay? So just deep breathing, 10 deep breaths. A couple of other things that you can do. My absolute favorite deep breathing exercise is 4-7-8. We're going to link it in the show notes so that you can watch a video of it if you would like. And this breathing technique, you breathe in for 4, you hold it for 7, you breathe out for 8. I'm going to link a little video that's kind of a sidebar. The reason why I want to do it as a sidebar is because sometimes what happens with deep breathing is that we get a little bit lightheaded. And so for those of you that are driving or engaging in any kind of strenuous activity, I don't want you to be impacted by it. 4-7-8 breathing. You can do box breathing. Box breathing is when you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, you breathe out for 4, you hold for 4. Maybe it's 5 breaths or a count of 5. Maybe it's a count of 6, whatever works for your breathing. There's also 3-part breathing where you breathe. The first breath opens kind of in the top of your chest. And then the second breath is kind of the lower part of your chest, upper part of your belly. The third part of the breath fully expands that belly. And then as you exhale, you're going to go opposite. So it's kind of like you're going down and out and then in and up with that breath. It seems really simple, but the reality is we're not breathing effectively and efficiently, and we're also not engaging our rest and relaxation. I promise you that if you are deep breathing on a regular basis, whether it is before you go into a difficult meeting, when you walk out of that difficult meeting, whatever it might be, you're going to feel better and different than you would if you did other things. So deep breathing, my number one stress management technique. My second one is going to tie into one of our other pillars, which is movement. I talked to you about that idea of the like plugged into the electrical socket kind of image of like the wired person. When we experience stress and tension, good stress or bad stress, regular life tension or big trauma, it creates energy in our body. And if we don't do something with that energy is going to do something to us. I use the example with my clients that if we don't do something with this energy that the trauma creates, then we're going to, bust out crying in the pasta aisle because they don't have the spaghetti sauce that we want. Or it's going to be in a much more inopportune time. So purposefully, intentionally engaging in activities that is burning physical energy. That's why movement is so important. Walking, running, biking, kayaking, walking on the treadmill, on the elliptical, cardiovascular exercise that's going to begin to move that energy away. Yoga, Pilates is also very good for your body. Strength training, lifting weights. You can go back and listen to the movement episode. We have other episodes about movement. I'm not the expert necessarily in this, so I'm not going to prescribe to you how you need to move your body in order to feel less stress. What I'm going to say to you is that just move your body. In the same way that I said, just breathe, just move your body. Okay. Maybe it's going to be a walk around the neighborhood. Maybe it's going to be you're going to jump on the treadmill. Any kind of physical activity that you can engage in is going to be an improvement in your overall stress. I'm not going to say it's going to help today, but it might help over time. Although it might help today. I went for a walk yesterday with my neighbor. I was on my way home. It was a beautiful day here, late February. It's been cold. We've had multiple snowstorms here in Maryland. And yesterday it was like in the 50s, maybe upper 50s. And I texted a friend and I was like, hey, I'm heading home soon. Do you want to walk? And she was like, absolutely. And we walked for like an hour, just chit-chatting and walking through the neighborhood. It felt great. Sunshine, fresh air, moved my body, engaged in good conversation with a friend. Super, super great for stress relief. So just breathe, but also move your body. Move your body because it's going to help expend some of that energy. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to go to a gym and get a physical trainer. You can find really great programs online for free. I will plug revelationwellness.org. They have what they call RevWell TV. It's free workout. You have access to it. And all of those folks are group fitness instructors, personal trainers, and they're going to give you exercises that all of us can do with success options for those that might need some modifications for safety. You can come to our yoga classes at Hope and Healing. Just move your body in a safe way. And then the last piece of it is feed and fuel your body well. So I have just connected basically all of our pillars kind of in a backwards way, right? If we're feeding and fueling our body, then we're setting ourselves up to move, which means we are going to be feeling less stress while we are feeding and fueling and moving our body, okay? It all is impacted. If we are feeding and fueling our body well and we're moving our body well, we're going to be sleeping, whole nother episode. We're going to feel less stress. Therefore, we're going to be engaged in healthy relationships. If you take one of those things away, it impacts the other, right? So maybe I'm not really feeding and fueling my body well. I'm working out a lot, which means my body is stressed. My cortisol is through the roof, but I'm not giving my body the proper nutrition that it needs. So even though I'm like, gosh, I'm doing all this cardio, I'm lifting all these weights, I'm not feeling any better, I can't sleep, I'm so stressed. If we're not feeding and fueling our body, it doesn't matter how we're moving because we're still increasing our stress. We're still increasing our cortisol. We're still increasing the impact on our body without allowing ourselves the opportunity to fuel it and to rest it. Because, oh, by the way, if you are, I feel like I'm on a soapbox today and I'm sorry. If you are working out super hard, maybe not feeding and fueling your body well, you're potentially very likely not sleeping. And here's a teaser for the sleep episode. Go back and listen to it if you haven't already. Deep sleep is where we repair. So if you're working out really hard, but you're not getting into good deep sleep, then your body's not repairing. And then you're very likely to be injured, or you're just going to be so sore that you're going to miss a day. And then once you miss one day, you miss two. And then before you know it, you're out of the routine. So if I could tell you 3 things to help impact your management of stress, not your reduction of stress, your management of stress. Again, the first one is to breathe, deep breathe several times throughout the day. Pick whichever deep breathing works for you. I'm going to give you a video and just a link that you'll be able to use. Feed and fuel your body. We've got plenty of information about nutrition on the podcast on our website, hopehealingtherapy.com. And then you got to move your body. You got to move your body. We need to do something with the energy. And the final thing I'll say is that you have to rest and you have to sleep. Boom. There's 4 of the 5 pillars. Look at that. They're all intertwined. They're all important. Deep breathe. Get some good opportunities today to breathe. Go for a walk. Here I am. Sun is shining. Do something with the energy that stress creates in our body. I hope this was helpful for you. A couple of nuggets of information. As always, I'd love to hear from you, Jennifer at hopehealingtherapy.com. Send us a DM on our socials. Thanks for listening and have a great day.